Good morning to you. Be a quiet mommy. Indeed, we pray to God all the time. Even this morning, before I came into the studio, I just went into my small corner and I said to God that please help us make an impact today, regardless of what we are discussing. So hopefully we make an impact this morning. It could even be from the motivational message we'll be taking soon from Obobi Adakun Opoku. And I do hope that you had a good weekend. If you didn't, I pray that you pray to God and expect that this week be one of the best weeks that you've ever had. And I prophesy to you. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Good morning once again, and this is the morning update on TVXYZ. My name is Nana Abuna Sewa, and I am here with...
I'm Eric Ahianyo, and I believe that this morning all of us are excited. We understand that the president, his wife, the vice president, his wife, and some top prominent Ghanaians are making reference to people in the traditional sector, the Asantehene, the Gamanche, will be among those who will be taking their jabs this morning.
Yeah.
And it is good news because a lot of people have been speculating. Yesterday, the president spoke extensively, giving us the assurance that, look, these vaccines are good enough and they are here to save us. And so let's prepare ourselves and go for our jabs. The people have been categorized into groups. So group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. For us in the media, we fall under the 4th category. And those at the front line, either health or security, and those who will be doing a lot of movement around will form part of group 1. The group 2 will be teachers, nurses, and those who are involved in the waste management companies or business also form part of group 3, 2, and so on. So we'll be sharing the details. I believe before we end this program, you hear more on the plan for the vaccines.
Yes, like I said, today is going to be an impactful day. So open up yourself and receive.
And last weekend, I'm sure you followed a lot of conversation on social media. Do you think that Ghana is moving forward as far as media freedoms are concerned? Yesterday, I had a conversation with a professor, and the impression I got was that if Ghana doesn't wake up now, the gradual process of gagging almost every institution will kill us because many of those institutions are no more speaking. Look at the labor unions. They are not talking. If you want to look at the student front, they are virtually behaving as if they are not following what is happening in this country. You look at the clergymen, the traditional authorities, all of them have been virtually gagged either by way of influence positively or negatively. And so the conversation is, if the media succumbs to this threat by the judicial service, then we are doomed. And this morning, we'll be having conversations on that. I understand the Ghana Journalists Association is also going to hold a press conference this morning, so we hope to hear what they will also say.
Yes. Now, speaking on what we or they have to say, let's take the motivational message from Obobi Adakun Opoku.
Hello, I am Obobi Adakun Opoku. Today, I want to share with you why it is not and should not be difficult for you to say, I'm sorry. One of the most common statements is, I'm sorry, please forgive me. It takes little effort to say this, but it is so difficult for some people to say they are sorry when they offend others. Are you one of those people who cannot say, I'm sorry, or please forgive me for what I have said? The truth, though, is that while it is one of the common statements you hear, it is not easy at all to say, I'm sorry. This is why many cannot look into other people's faces and say, I am sorry. To say sorry, one must first accept his or her mistake and admit that you're wrong. But the problem is, how often do we accept and admit we are wrong? It is not funny that everyone is 99% right in his or her own eyes at every point in life. How then do you expect the right person to apologize to the wrong person? Beloved, saying I'm sorry is one of the most difficult things for some people. But can you imagine how many homes, marriages, relationships, business partnerships, etc. would have been saved if one individual had dropped his or her ego and said, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Countries are at war today because no one has the courage to say sorry to an offended person. Saying sorry is difficult. People perceive those who easily apologize to be weak, but they are rather the strongest. Saying I'm sorry does not correct any wrong, but it surely heals a wound. Let's heal the world and reconcile with others by saying, I am sorry. My message to you today is simple. Learn to say I'm sorry when you're wrong or offend someone or you make someone unhappy. Thank you for watching. My name is Obobia Dakupuku. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube with a handle @pause43 and share in my messages every Monday and Thursday.
Welcome back. This is Morning Update on TVXYZ. And don't forget, you can also follow us on social media, Facebook and YouTube to be specific. And always look for TVXYZ or Wezo TV, one of the huge platforms where you can follow our conversations. This morning, I'm here with Abena.
Nana Benasewa.
Nana Benasewa. I prefer Abena. I don't like the Nana.
Why?
That's
I like
me.
the Nana.
You take your Nana. You threw me out there. We are happy to share with you what has been reported on the front pages of the newspapers. I want to start with the Chronicle newspaper. Front page here is talking about what Ghanaians don't want to hear, not because somebody has spoken, but they just don't want to hear that abbreviation, LGBTQI. Some are saying it used to be lesbians and gays. And because people are tolerating them, they are adding the GBTQI. And somebody was saying this morning that if you don't take care, they will add A, B, C, Q, whatever they have to add it. But whether it is right or wrong, it is devilish. And what you need to do is to begin to reflect on life. If you have seen a dead body before and later lowered into the grave, you must know that we are not on this life, on this earth alone. There is something very spiritual, and no matter the kind of indoctrination that you go through, no matter how people use money to influence you, to pump evil thoughts into you, that cannot be considered as right, because either you go through the Bible or you go through traditional religion or the Quran, nothing about creation gave those rights. Even Adam and Eve, when they were in the forest, realized, and God has sustained that message. I can only tell you that if you have a child, like a bishop counselor suggested to us some time ago, just begin to take your child through critical observation. And if you see any trait, help that child come out of what is not normal. The front page of the Chronicle newspaper says, President Akufo-Addo says it bluntly, gay and lesbian under me to fiakwa. And that's how it's captured on the front page of the Chronicle newspaper. There are other headlines. Let me quickly run through them. World Bank shoots down Alex Molt's claim on IPP's financing during Dumso. And one killed, cop injured over disputed boundary in Ashanti region. And it comes with the pictures of two police officers, one sergeant, a champon sporting an injury on the back head, and then ASP Godwin Ahianyo is the Ashanti regional PRO. So those are captured on the front page of the, how do you call it? I think I'm missing it. On the front page of the Chronicle newspaper. But you can see the pictures right there. I'm having difficulty pointing it because of how I am monitoring my own self on the screen. So go with your graphic.
I'm not surprised you started with the Chronicle. You're very passionate about this. Now, on the front page of the Daily Graphic, it says here, the very first story, which is the big one, it says that 43 epicenters vaccinate tomorrow. Now, the vaccination exercise will begin tomorrow, as I have said, and end on 15th of March. And they said about 25 districts in the Greater Accra region, 16 in the Ashanti and 2 in the Central regions will benefit from the exercise. So that will be the first districts that would partake in the vaccination exercise. Now, it also says here, don't undermine our work, coming from the Judicial Service, telling the media, which is something I'll be discussing on the social segment today. Also, it says here the SHS placement out. That's another story that I think will excite my co-host.
Yes. And it's also captured on other pages in the papers we have here. The Ghanaian Times on its front page, the same thing. LGBTQ eyebrow haha. Government won't legalize same-sex marriage. Never under my presidency, stresses the president. And then Ghana Health Service says, we are ready to administer COVID-19 vaccines. And still more on COVID-19. The president addressed the nation yesterday and gave details about the groupings and assurance about the drugs. GES places 494,530 candidates into SHS TVET schools nationwide. Also captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The back page has sports, Kotoko, Hearts, SharePoint in pulsating clash. I've seen a few Jama songs on social media, Facebook to be specific, and the supporters were charged.
Do you know some?
No.
You don't know any of the Jama songs?
Oh, I do. I was a radical on campus.
Do you want to give us freestyle?
So I used to lead
freestyle. Please start chanting, Eric. Freestyle.
On Friday we'll do that. On Friday we'll do that. Sexual gender-based violence increases by 82% in Volta region. And this story by Mario Noreti at Clever says, cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the Volta region have risen to alarming heights in the wake of coronavirus. A total of 932 of such cases were recorded in the region in 2020 compared to 512 in 2019. And the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of the Police Service is warning that they will deal drastically with those who seem to be abusing their wives and husbands.
Yeah, I also have the Inquisitor. Now, it says here there is a big fight at Tor. DMD assaults, actually he verbally assaulted the commercial manager because he refused to give out certain documents which he believed were classified. Now also it says here that injustice at GRA, officers denied promotion, top gurus employ favorites. I think this is everywhere, nepotism all the way. But in the midst of all that, there is good news. It says here that Electrochem GH doubles workforce at Ada. Now, one thing I'm also excited about is the fact that it says government to use technology in deployment of COVID-19 vaccines. So if you were wondering how they were going to administer this, there will be an app that they would introduce. And so you can go to the app and look for centers that are close to you and get vaccinated. Why are you laughing?
No, this app business. This app business.
What's your issue with the app business?
See, many of us in Accra obviously would know the centers. The proximity may be better in terms of commuting. Mm-hmm. The availability of vehicles are there.
Right.
Where we need a lot of effort and not the app business is the hinterlands.
Right.
Where roads are bad, where communication is poor, where education is low, where telcos are not even very efficient in terms of signal quality. Mm-hmm. And so when you announce these things, you add a little flavor and ask yourself, all the apps that we have launched, how efficient have they been?
Well,
how have people participated? Look, the COVID-19 app, as we speak, COVID-19 is real. Mm-hmm. How many Ghanaians are voluntarily taking part of what the app seeks to do? And what has been the last conversation you heard about the COVID-19 app? So we launch and stop it there. But I think one aspect of this technology business you talked about,
yeah.
I see it on the back page of the Business and Financial Times. It says Zipline, UPS partner government to deliver COVID-19 vaccines to health facilities.
Right.
So this one part of the technology being used. But as for the app business, I will leave it there. Now, Business and Financial Times I was holding. On the front page, look at how the stories come. I'll read them shortly after you take a look at them on your screen. And then this one says, E-Trade Hubs portal launched by ICC, West Blue, UPS, and Tralac. And then taxing Momo charges will double slap the telcos, tax experts, and then can also derail financial inclusion agenda. More stories on the front page talks about Fidelity Bank's digital banking campaign, and then Cash Connections, the digital disruption of the Blue Penguin. So all these are captured on the front page of the Business and Financial Times. Abna?
Yes, I have the Herald. And on the front page, it says that CDD tells Chief Justice and others to do self-examination as Imani rubbishes gag order and return of the culture of silence, which I think you have dealt into, and also pampered Alan Chermantin unconvincing at his vetting. Now, Ibrahim Mahama denies inviting MPP's insult machine for tea.
So those are the stories we have for you on the front page. But now, last weekend, what really made your day? Friday, Sunday, or you just went to sleep?
No, I didn't just go to sleep. Actually, I was discussing with my mother with regards to what I will be discussing today. The judges not being excited about some of the comments that we make, and then also mostly the comments that the media makes. And I was wondering, to be honest, I also saw the video that was circulating. I think you even sent me one as well. And I was thinking, are they not also exercising their freedom of speech or expression if they come out to say that, you know, they feel talking too much about this thing or putting up certain perceptions in the public confuses?
You see, the judicial service is an institution.
It is.
And it needs to be protected as prescribed in the Constitution.
Exactly.
There's a school of thought that whatever they do, whether good or bad, the public, in their own opinion, will have a certain impression about them. Some escalate those commentaries by attacking or denigrating the institution. That is what a group of Ghanaians believe they are seeking to achieve. There's another school of thought that they perhaps understand the anger among Ghanaians because of incidents that have happened in our courts over the period.
Right.
And in anticipation of what is likely to flood the media space after March 4, they are sending this signal to gag people from speaking. That is where a lot disagree. In fact, I went through a number of these messages on social media, and I want to make reference to a few of them and read. This one is reference to Franklin Kujo. It says, "You can't stop us from criticizing unfair rulings when we know some of you like good soup like us." Franklin Kujo des Judiciary. Now, predetermined, unanimous FC, think alike, biased, but political partisan. Now, you must not only desist from using these words and their likes, but also delete, retract, remove them from all media platforms immediately, failure of which you'll be dealt with accordingly. This one says, the judiciary can be the most dangerous threat to our democracy, and it is with reference to what Professor Raymond Atuguba has said. You remember he did some research work. This one says, so the letter the judicial service wrote to the media, is the social media included? A lot of the messages on social media is reaction with some level of anger.
Yes.
And I listened to one of the media practitioners, I believe on your show, we will have the opportunity to listen to him, who obviously said, look, they must retract and apologize because they cannot threaten the media. But we'll leave it at that and hope the nation will discuss it on a broader scale. We
will also try as much as possible to discuss it this morning on the social segment. So stick and stay if you really want to know much about this topic. Now, we would have to appreciate our sponsors, being X Natural Mineral Water, Simply Natural, and Health Alert Clinic. We'll be right back.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back to the morning update on TV XYZ. My name is Nana Abena Sewa. Earlier, I was on with my co-host Eric Anhiano, and we did talk a lot about some of the headlines that are in the newspapers. And as always, Wisdom is here to give us some details of some of the headlines. Good morning, Wisdom.
Good morning.
How are you doing? I like your jacket, or is it a blazer?
Yeah, thank you. This is a blazer.
Hey.
You go to Papa's school.
Okay,
Yeah,
please
so
tell us
this
what
is
you
a
have before you school me on fashion.
Oh, come on. I was just saying something I heard somewhere.
Okay.
I can't school you. You know you are the pro. So the Judicial Service has been heavily criticized over attempts to gag the media. I'll be telling you about that. You know, Eric read some, social media comments after that conversation. And then also, President Nana Akufo-Addo has vowed to pressure and then says that LGBTQI is not going to happen under his watch. But questions still remain. Is it legal? Because to say it's not happening, and then, because the question people are asking is, why didn't you condemn the act and all of those? So I'll be giving you details of what the Voices That Matter have been talking about. Finally, the free SHS student, I should say, that the first year student list are out, and that parents have been assessing that since Sunday. And then the crew teachers, they are returning to school today. I'll be telling you details of these and other stories.
Thank you, Wisdom. Now take us away.
Many thanks for your time. As always, my name is Wisdom Hedejim, and we'll go straight to the details. And an attempt by the Judicial Service to gag the media has backfired following harsh criticisms and condemnation of the threatening letter many describe as an affront to press freedom. Social media is awash with harsh comment amidst calls for withdrawal and apology.
The 6-page letter signed by Thaddeus Sori on behalf of the Judicial Service has been described as provocative, threatening, and in full breach of the media freedoms as prescribed in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. Critics suspect the move is in anticipation of public reaction after the expected ruling, the petition challenging the presidential results this Thursday, March 4. Paragraph 14 of the Judicial Service letter demanded the immediate deletion of what it described as all hateful, spiteful, vengeful, and incendiary comments against the Supreme Court justices. Paragraph 16, for example, carried even stronger words, and I quote, "We must notify you, and we hereby do that should you fail to heed our client's demand as specified in paragraph 14 above, we have our client's instructions to take appropriate action to ensure that you do not abuse the right to free speech by deploying and or permitting your platform to be deployed in a manner that not only threatens our constitutional order and democracy, but obviously adversely interferes with the due administration of justice and also brings it into disrepute." The statement has attracted widespread condemnation. Former National Media Commission Chairman Cabral Blay Amihie was blunt, and he said, "Any attempt to muzzle the media from any quarters must be resisted. GJA, National Media Commission, Prempag, Giba, stand up and be counted." Thousands of critical thoughts on the election petition were posted on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, etc. Is the Supreme Court writing to order them to delete what the Supreme Court perceived as scandalizing it? Managing editor of the Insight newspaper, Kwesi Pratt Jr., on his part chastised the service.
That statement is inimical to the development of a free and independent media in Ghana, and it should be withdrawn as quickly as possible. What is the Judicial Secretary doing? If the Judicial Service has to issue a statement, why is the statement not coming from the Judicial Secretary? That statement which was issued yesterday is unprecedented. I've never seen it before. It has never been done in our history. And I wonder what the true motives are. Why can't the people of Ghana comment on their decisions? The people of Ghana are entitled as of right to praise and to criticize any of the judicial institutions in our country. And this attempt to threaten us will not wash.
Social media is awash with even harsher comments While some see it as a service running away from its own shadows, others questioned why the Judicial Service refused to comment on even more serious infractions. Another post simply read, Article 127 guarantees the independence of the judiciary, and Article 162 guarantees the freedom and justice of the media. So which is which? Others read, someone should tell the Supreme Circus that they cannot force respect. Respect is earned.
If the court is going to use contempt, it has to be procedurally regulated, because while the substance of contempt is allowed under the Constitution, it is also, like every other provision, every other limitation that is put on a person's liberty, which contempt is. It's a restriction on your liberty. It's permissible, but it is a restriction. But the Constitution requires, right, every person shall be entitled to his personal liberty, and no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty except in the following cases. The following cases includes contempt, right, and in accordance with procedure permitted by law.
Now, the Ghana Health Service is set for the COVID-19 vaccination exercise tomorrow. Over the weekend, the doses were deployed to designated centers. The exercise comes in the wake of more deaths and an increase in severe and critically ill cases. There is one that's following report I found. Though official figures on the Ghana Health Service website indicate a decline in infections over the last 2 weeks, the number of severe cases and critically ill are rising. 5 more people have died, bringing the total case count of persons killed by coronavirus to 599. Of the 6,404 active cases, 88 are severe and 29 patients are in critical conditions. Mass vaccination begins tomorrow, March 2, and the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, will be among the first to receive jabs from the 600,000 COVAX-sponsored doses that arrived last week. Others are health staff, frontline security personnel, top clergymen and Muslim clerics, MPs, government appointees, traditional leaders, and some aged persons. Pregnant women and children under 18 are exempted. TVXYZ News has learnt Ghana is taking delivery of 2 million doses from India. Besides the AstraZeneca, Ghana has also placed orders for the Russian Sputnik 5 vaccines. Skeptics are still suspicious in spite of assurances by the FDA. The fear stems from the WHO compensation package announced as COVAX doses arrived. But Ghana Health Service has also assured it's safe and does not cause impotency, as rumored. Now, the death toll has been updated, and the total now is 607 as of last night. This means 191 people have died in February alone. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will later this morning be the first people to publicly receive the doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. They will also take, together with their spouses, the First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo and Second Lady Samira Bawumia. Now, TVXYZ News has learned another batch of the COVID-19 vaccines arrive in 2 weeks. Among those targeted for the exercise tomorrow are health workers, adults 60 years and above, people with underlying health conditions, frontline executives, members of the legislature, members of the judiciary and their staff, frontline security personnel, selected religious leaders, essential workers, and others. Now, yesterday, the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, addressed the nation on related issues during the 24th COVID-19 broadcast to the nation. Here are excerpts.
I know that there are still some who continue to express doubts about the vaccine. Others have expressed reservations about its efficacy, with some taking sides with conspiracy theories who believe the vaccine has been created to wipe out the African race. This is far from the truth.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo there. Now, away from COVID issues, let's now turn attention to education-related stories. And finally, the SHS1 placement list is out. More than 151,000 of the over 494,000 qualified students for placement are yet to get schools. VGS, in a statement, has directed that parents to apply through self-placement.
Last week, President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Eric Angel Kabunu, was blunt when he spoke to TVXYZ News on the delay. He said the explanation by GES was not convincing enough.
I don't know why the placement list is delaying, but the earlier it is released, the better. So our parents can prepare adequately for their children to go to school. The excuse given was not convincing enough.
The list is finally out now, and parents have been assessing it since Sunday. The GES, in a statement announcing the release of the 2020 computerized school selection and placement list, said, out of the 533,693 candidates, 494,530 qualified for placement into various SHS and technical and vocational education and training schools. Of these, 343,264 were automatically placed, while a whopping 151,266 could not be matched with any of their choices. These students, according to the statement, are now advised to upload the list of schools on the portal for students to select from during self-placement without hitches. To access details about the placement, candidates are to obtain placement PIN from an approved vendor, log into www.cssps.gov.gh and enter their index numbers +20 before submitting. A National Solution Center has also been set up by Instead, the GES call center, to address complaints.
We still stay on education, and Krowo schools, which closed down in protest against the brutal assault on a teacher by a final year JHS student and his gang, were reopened today. This follows the arrest of the student and police by the MP and MC for the area.
Of the cluster of schools at Nungwa suspended services in protest against the brutal assault on their colleague by a gang of 15 led by a 17-year-old final JHS student of Nungwa Krowo 2. The victim, Moses Onyamiasem, whose crime was punishing the student for not presenting his homework, was left with swollen eye, broken nose and bruises after he was rescued. The student in question is now in custody at the Nungwa police station while investigations are underway. Last Friday, Nagrat president served notice any attempt to sweep the crime under the carpet won't be tolerated.
We expect the police and the law enforcing agencies to be swift on matters like this and arrest the culprits and bring those culprits to book.
But TVXYZ News can confirm the teachers are resuming work today. It took the intervention of the MP for the area, Agnes Namomolati, with the support of the Krowo MCE, Joshua Nibote, to calm nerves.
I want to be a mediator, appealing to the teachers and ensuring safe environment for them to teach. Equally, any student who the perpetrator feels is a threat will also be under attack by the perpetrator and his gang. So a safe environment, a safe and secured environment for both teachers and students to enhance learning and teaching is what we are asking for, and that is what we are looking at as a way forward.
The police and other municipal authorities have met the teaching staff and assured them of their safety.
Away from education stories, and President Akufo-Addo over the weekend received applause from some clergymen for openly denouncing the lesbian gay agenda through assurances their wish for legitimacy will not happen under his tenure. Critics, however, say his failure to condemn the EU and other diplomats promoting the agenda still leaves the issue unaddressed.
Disappointment and public anger towards the presidency followed revelations that earlier news reports suggesting he ordered national security operatives to close down the facility was inaccurate. This was when the Kwabenya traditional leaders, together with anti-gay rights campaigners, finally located the office and supervised the closure in the presence of the landlord and the police. Outrage poured on social media. Finally, Nana Akufo-Addo has spoken. His assurance, however, stopped short of condemning the EU and other LGBTQI promoters among the diplomatic community.
I've said this before, and let me in conclusion stress again that it will not be under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that same-sex marriage will be legal. That same-sex marriage will be legalized in Ghana. It will never happen in my time as president.
Critics say the president's statement is not satisfactory enough because it did not spell out any other measures to stop discussions or perhaps demand a review of the laws to criminalize such activities or their discussion. Religious leaders have welcomed the statement, but with caution, hoping to see further steps to bring finality to the issue. Skeptics fear Ghana's wishy-washy approach to addressing the canker creeping into the country makes room for LGBTQI activists to continue promoting their agenda.
Away from that, next section of the public is demanding bold steps by government to dualize major highways to end the Gory accident. Last weekend, 16 passengers died on the spot during a head-on collision between two buses on the Accra-Kumasi highway. The accident, which occurred around 1 a.m., left several others injured. The impact was so huge that one of the buses was virtually shredded into pieces, leaving passengers who were occupying the front severely maimed. TVXYZ News has learnt 3 more people have died, bringing the total to 19. Of the 16 still on admission, 7 females and the others are males. Now, in other development or in other accident, a tipper truck veered off the road, running into building, leaving occupants injured. Last week, 3 foreigners on board a Land Cruiser perished on the Cape Coast Highway. The conversation about need to dualize major highways, Accra Cape Coast, Takoradi, Alubu, Accra Kumasi, Accra Aflao, to name a few, to ease vehicular traffic and to reduce fatalities, came up during the 2020 elections and the vetting of ministers designate for roads and highways. He did not make any commitment but said it is on the drawing table. Now, there is an easy come at the Kotoka International Airport following agitation among staff for the removal of their MD, Yaw Kwakwa.
This Friday, both local and international flights were disrupted following the partial strike declared by the staff demanding the resignation of their managing director, Yaw Kwakwa. The timely intervention of the National Security Minister designate, Kandapa, and his colleague in charge of employment averted the crisis from escalating. The unionized staff, which cites corruption and abuse of power, has vowed to escalate their action should the embattled MD remain defiant. TVXYZ News has learned the meeting called over the weekend was inconclusive. Workers are, however, to remain at post while negotiations continue. Staff of the Ghana Airport Company Limited have threatened to escalate their action if government attempts to protect the MD.
And before we go, the National Peace Council is passionately appealing to Nana Akufo-Addo and former President John Dramani Mahama to protect their peace after the outcome of the election petition case. In a brief statement, the council urged the 2 leaders to keep their supporters in check. It reminded them of the peace accord they signed ahead of the 2020 polls. It also advised the parties to refrain from any activity that may directly or indirectly encourage their followers, officials, to disturb the peace after the Supreme Court verdict on Thursday. And that'll be it for this morning's edition of News in Brief on the Morning Update with me, Weston Hedejome. As always, do log on to myxyzonline.com for more. Nana Abena Sewa.
Thank you, Mr. Hedejome. You had a birthday.
Yeah, I want to say happy birthday, belated though, to my house of Mami. Mama Higa, Tete Kwame. Retired. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, and then also to our own Ofata, Stephen Ampedu, and calling the headmaster. Happy birthday to your father.
All right, happy birthday to anyone also. If you are celebrating your birthday to you, a happy birthday to you. Now, once again, this is the morning update, and that was the news in brief on the morning update by Wisdom Hedejome. We will take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into our social segment for today.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome back to the morning update on TV XYZ. My name is Nana Abena Sewa. Now, we are at a point where we discuss certain issues that, as I say, always concerns you and concerns me as well. Now, before we do that, I would like to give you a brief statement on some of the things that my sponsor does. That is Health Alert Clinic. Now, Health Alert Clinic uses herbal medicine to cure certain chronic diseases like diabetes, chronic hypertension, stroke, numbness, and of course, waist and and muscle pains, they use machine treatment. They also treat ulcer, prostate issues, menstrual problems. So for the women who have menstrual issues, visit Health Alert Clinic, and you don't even have to take injections. I know I'm afraid of injections. You don't have to take injections. They'll just give you herbal medicine. Now, also burning sensation in the foot and body, and chronic body pains, waist and bone pains. They cure typhoid, bad cholesterol, gonorrhea, syphilis, dizziness, white. And also, if you cannot sleep, I have insomnia, so if you are like me, then let's all join force and go to Health Alert Clinic. Also, once again, they check hepatitis B for free, so you can just walk in there and they will do that for you. Or you can also walk in and do your ultra scan, or you do a massage and physio with machine treatment. Laboratory services, they offer that as well. They open from Monday to Saturday, so from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. they are available. They are behind the Medina Post Office and behind the First Atlantic Bank. Or you can also call them on 0242 518893 or 0242 518865. Health Alert Clinic. Let's go herbal. Also, do not forget, as always, we are supported by X Natural Mineral Water as well. Simply natural. Into our discussion for today. Now, the Judicial Service have sparked a lot of controversy over the weekend till now. A lot of the media houses and Ghanaians who stand for freedom of speech have had a lot to say with regards to the statement that has been issued or was issued out by Thaddeus Sori on behalf of the Judiciary Service, now which has brought also questions about why the judiciary would even hire a lawyer in the first place. But I would want to read categorically some parts of the statement that was issued on behalf of the Judicial Service, and I quote. It says that immediately delete all hateful, spiteful, vengeful, incendiary comments against the Supreme Court justices. Now, the paragraph 16 carried even stronger word, and again I quote. It says that we must notify you, and we hereby do, that should you fail to heed our client's demand as specified in paragraph 14 above, which stated most of the things that they wanted, which is for the media to retract some of the statements they have put online that suggest that the court's proceedings have been predetermined. And it says here that we have our client's instructions to take appropriate actions to ensure that you do not abuse the right to free speech by deploying and or permitting your platform to be deployed in a manner that not only threatens our constitutional order and democracy, but obviously adversely interferes with the due administration of justice and also brings it into disrepute. Now, I think actually all the judges are not happy about a lot of things, and it raises a lot of questions in the minds of people. I mean, I've heard a few people ask if they are doing this because there's again a predetermined order that is going to be released on the 4th of March, which is the set date for them to come out with their judgment as to the final decision that they are going to take. Or they are just trying to box the media from speaking their mind, or even box some Ghanaians from speaking their mind. Election petition 2020, the petitioner isn't happy. Some Ghanaians are not happy about the court rulings, and now we are knowing that the judges, of course, are not happy. Now, don't forget, last week we heard about Honorable Eyine, who had to apologize to the court with regards to certain statements that he made about the court's rulings being predetermined. Now, obviously, as we are under an institution, JJA wasn't going to keep quiet about this. Let's hear what they had to say.
I read it as a threat to the Ghanaian media. And I think that statement should be withdrawn as quickly as possible. It's an affront to the right of free expression. That statement is inimical to the development of a free and independent media in Ghana, and it should be withdrawn as quickly as possible. I am worried by the fact that the whole Judicial Service has to employ the services of an external lawyer to issue a statement. What is the Judicial Secretary doing? If the Judicial Service has to issue a statement, why is the statement not coming from the Judicial Secretary? That statement which was issued yesterday is unprecedented. I've never seen it before. It has never been done in our history. And I wonder what the true motives are. I'm totally confused. That statement tells us absolutely nothing. Indeed, the only purpose that statement serves is to warn the media to be careful about media commentary and publishing media commentary. The principle of equality of citizens and so on recognizes that those who sit on the Supreme Court, the judges and so on, have a certain responsibility. The Constitution gives them the power of arbitration. The Constitution gives them the power to interpret the Constitution itself and so on. That is their privilege. You understand? But they act on behalf of the citizens of Ghana. Without the citizens of Ghana, that Supreme Court has no power. The powers they exercise are the powers of the people of Ghana. And if they exercise the powers of the people of Ghana, why can't the people of Ghana comment on their decisions? The people of Ghana are entitled as of right to praise and to criticize any of the judicial institutions in our country. And this attempt to threaten us will not wash. Look, the current dispensation was fought for by citizens. Why? Some time ago, we had national public tribunals which existed outside the judicial system. Their decisions were not subject to review even by the Supreme Court and so on. The people of Ghana, the progressive forces of Ghana and so on, came together and fought for this dispensation. Fought for this democratic dispensation which empowers Supreme Court judges and other judges to sit in arbitration and to interpret the laws of our country. Those who fought, some of them died in defense of the freedom of expression. Some of them died in defense of the rule of law and so on. And we will be guided by the spirit of that struggle for freedom. Nobody can intimidate us. Nobody can frighten us into silence. And if they want to send us to prison for speaking out in defense of justice and the right of free expression, they are welcome to do so.
Just watching Kwesi Pratt talk sparked something in me. And to be honest, I am a bit disappointed with the statement that was brought out by the Judiciary Service, which was done by Thados Sorry on behalf of the Judiciary Service. My co-host is here with me and we will discuss the issue. But before that, the former National Media Commission chairman, that's Cabral Blay Amihire, was blunt in a Facebook post, and I really says an attempt to muzzle the media from any quarters must be resisted, which I agree with. Now, GJA, NMC, and Primpak Giba stand up and be counted. And just another thought, thousands of critical thoughts on the election petition were posted on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, just to mention a few. Is the SC or the Supreme Court writing to order them to delete what the Supreme Court perceived as scandalizing it? Now, Eric, this is... I know that you are suited up for this conversation. I saw it from the way you passionately talked about it this morning.
Not really, but you see, unfortunately, I belong to one side of this conversation. That is the media.
True.
And many times, societies develop based on past experiences. And so we have had a past in Ghana where the media didn't have space. I will walk you through some research done by a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. But this morning, as we speak, the Ghana Journalists Association is holding a press conference.
Yes.
You remember when you read the Facebook post by Cabral Blay Amihia. He has been a president of the GJA before, and he has been well respected in society because of how he has led the fight to free space for the media to operate. Now, this press conference will be taking place at 10 a.m. That's this morning at the press center. And the title, as captured here, says, "The Threats Against the Media by the judicial service. Now, for many people who may not understand what is going on, I want them to just reflect on what Kwesi Pratt said and try to break it down. We had a system of governance where people in authority were doing what they wanted.
Yeah.
The public was denied some opportunity to understand what was going on because they are the taxpayers and it is their money that actually helps the country to grow. And so if people are at such levels, what they need to do is to hear the concerns of the average person.
Yes.
And so the days when you wait in your village till there is a festival and a president or a government appointee will come and then you beg for some deliverables, we've gone past that stage where people can actually air out their views.
Yeah, yes.
And so we have seen a 1992 constitution that sought to address all those problems. These things have been in the public domain. Now, let me just walk you through some references made by Dr. Jacob Nyako, and then he does what we call the background to all this conversation. Now, he makes reference to the 1992 Constitution, and he says none of the laws guaranteed media freedom in such extensive terms. So this constitution that Kwesi Pratt is saying all of us should fight to protect has captured all the things that must be in there. So the liberalization of the airwaves, the media freedoms, to the extent that if you want to set up a newspaper, you don't need somebody to give you a license to do this. Now, these are very intuitive. It talks about press liberalization, it talks about symbolic relationship, it talks about criminal libel law, and it talks about right to information law, and then it moves on and on and on. Why did we pass the right to information law? Why did we liberalize the airwaves to the extent that you can say your mind? Now, what is happening now, many people see it as a subtle attempt to gag the media. You have had the media space dominated by the perceived politicians who will not allow practitioners to do what they want. And then here you are, many things are happening around institutions of state. And if, for example, the Electoral Commission chair cannot be cross-examined and the judiciary cannot be criticized after its ruling, then we are going to live in a banana state where things are happening, but you are afraid to talk. I believe that with the school of thought, or I subscribe to the school of thought that, look, if the media should fail the fight at this time, then Ghana should forget it. Our democracy will sink.
Right.
And perhaps nobody knows what will happen tomorrow.
But on the flip side, wouldn't you also say that the judiciary, to a certain extent, is exercising their right as well?
Somebody makes reference to two articles of the in the Constitution. And then one specifically makes reference to Article, I think, 127 of the Constitution, which guarantees the independence of the judiciary.
Yes.
And another makes reference to Article 162 of the same Constitution, which guarantees the freedom and independence of the media. Look, why will the judicial service create the impression that will fuel more suspicion about their operations? Because a lot of people are monitoring what has happened in our courts, and it is not limited to the Supreme Court, our courts. They have formed their own opinion. They have the right to form those opinions, provided they don't cross the line where they use it to attack a whole institution. But if they have every reason to disagree with any ruling, they can go all out. I've monitored the conversation by Professor Kwesi Prempeh, Professor Kweku Azar, who have told the judicial service in the face that what you have done is wrong, it's a threat, withdraw it and apologize. Another person also puts it this way, that is it that because March 4 is just close around, and so maybe the service is anticipating the backlash and so wants to issue a statement to threaten the media?
Eric,
I don't know, but these are
you.
questions that are going through the minds of people. And so why will you create this suspicion at this time?
I'm not cutting you, but why didn't we see what's it called, Honorable Ayine's
Dominic
Ayine's own as a threat? Because he was asked to apologize for some of the comments he made, which isn't far from what the media has been reporting.
You remember I said there's a thin line.
Yes.
What is contempt of court? the contempt of court is defined in several ways. How the court is seen to be applying the law when people are in contempt also sends signal to the masses. And so if on one hand you treat a victim or somebody charged with some what people perceive as kids' gloves, and then on the other hand you are a bit hard on those people, it still leaves some impression on the minds of people. What the public is saying generally, what the media is saying generally is that there are rights and there are ethics of the profession. If you cross the line, you can be dealt with. But a blanket statement that demands that delete all what has been published, otherwise you'll be dealt with. And henceforth, if you go ahead, we'll deal with you. It looks as if you have one institution of state threaten another institution of state just because that institution of state has some space to crack a whip that it's mandated to do. So if I'm charged for contempt, for example, I'll be put in the box. If I'm not able to convince the court or explain myself, I'll be convicted.
Right.
Why is it that those people can decide to do what they want and assume that they are untouchables?
Right.
What is making a lot of people concerned is about what is happening today, where many people are saying, if we don't take care, posterity will come back to judge us. And in my opinion, what the service has done leaves a lot of questions to be answered, especially judicial service. They have a secretary. They issue their statement on their own behalf. If they are advising the public, it comes as such. Remember recently, Muntaka Mubarak, who is the MP for Asawasi, made some comments that suggested that there was an attempt to bribe a female member of parliament. Eventually, he said he cannot prove it because one of the person who gave him the information is not ready to provide evidence. Do you remember the judicial service issued a statement?
I remember.
Now, why didn't they give that statement to Thaddeus Osori to sign for them? Is it that they want Thaddeus Osori to sign the statement, and so when the public backlash cannot be sustained,
they are setting a precedent because I saw in their statement where they said if you have an issue with the ruling or anything with regards to them, come to court.
Why should I come to court? There's the petitioners or the respondents, depending on how the ruling goes, have every right to seek a review of the ruling, and that review will be sought in court because they have direct interest. If I sit down and I have my own opinion and I'm speaking it because I'm talking to other people to tell us their own impression after your ruling, why would you want to say that you will act? And whether people see it as right or wrong, don't talk. We can't live in a society like that, even in your own room or your own house. I believe that it gets to a stage where you can tell your father in the face that, look, Dad, I respect you, I appreciate who you are, I understand you are my father and I should give you the respect, but as for this one, I disagree.
Yes.
We can't build a society where one group of people who are paid by the state to deliver for people to appreciate will assume that as for them, don't talk about them. But you can talk about the president. Haven't you heard people criticizing the president or the former president or members of parliament or traditional authorities? So they are 10 gods. Nobody should talk about them. Is that what we want to build as a society?
From what you're saying and what is happening, would you say that the judiciary have something to hide, or that, again, I use this word advisedly, they have a predetermined judgment they want to give on the 4th of March, and that is why they are coming up with that?
Well, I believe that if you feed too much on that leg, you are likely to find yourself in trouble.
Right.
You can only conjecture, but at this stage, we'll say that the service must not do anything to raise further suspicion. That's all I can say. But I believe when we get the lawyers, when we get the experts, when we get those who lead us, as far as the media fraternity is concerned, we'll hear their commentary, and that will help to move us forward. But this attempt will fail.
So I have been talking to my co-host with regards to the Supreme Court statement, which says that the media houses should pull down or retract certain statements that are deemed insightful by the judiciary, or else ... Yeah. So we're yet to find out what would happen if the media does not comply to the said statement. Now we'll be moving to the next segment of the show, which is the newspaper review, which obviously will be heard by Eric Ahiano, my able co-host. We'll take a quick turn and we'll be right back.
Kofi na saying habama to me saya dear bia and anka metina homa me yadie yakumie.
Oh, Nade, Health Alert Clinic dear, yadin habama any organic product in Kwa and a saya dear.
Bear money or bar a one wire modene, Monko Health Alert Clinic.
Health Alert Clinic dear, say ya Bema wint me more jumayi, menstrual disorder, hypertension, and answer and number yadia STDs. Who will do some yadia bia, ya better at the amount. Was answer massaging, any physiotherapy, or more diagnostic machines. Eh, this is the pedium. Samsung ultra scan. Oh,
Health Alert Organic Shop on so honmua, organic products and Kwa and a Omoto honum. Shisha Yatrakwine, our Medina Post Office, your First Atlantic Bank, no Echi Honmua, our Encry.
Fraying, I was 0242 518893 and now 0242 518865. Health Alert Clinic. Go Heba!
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadrum Road for the road readiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
AutoChecks. Your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehin fapa na menya bosia, edia tre medjuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre, mi busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekoko abosia, susu account, eni daso wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, ene de keka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Me damwase.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome back. This is a morning update on TVXYZ. I'm here with two respected persons. One is an academician, one is a lawyer. I see both as academicians because if you want to be a lawyer and you don't learn hard, you can't assume the posture of an academician. You may not be able to excel as far as your business is concerned. Alexander Chum Berima is a legal practitioner. Alex, how are you?
Very well.
You look dull. Is it that you didn't have good rest over the weekend?
Oh, I did.
Or I should put you on heat?
I'm okay.
Okay.
It's possible he overspent the weekend though. So probably
when you overspend the weekend,
the
there's something that follows you. Something called over. I don't know whether there's that over there.
No.
Yeah, John Kweku Mensah Mauto is a Dean of Students at the School of Graduate Studies at the University of Professional Studies here in Accra.
Yeah.
How are you?
Fine, my good friend.
I don't know whether I should call you Mauto or Kwesi or John.
Yeah, you can call me Kweku Mensah Mauto, whichever.
Because you have John.
Yeah, I'm John.
You have Kweku, Mauto.
The third boy.
Yes. Mauto is the third.
Yeah,
I never knew.
No. I mean, Kweku is the third boy.
Okay, that's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I'm also Kweku.
Mensah is the third boy.
I'm also Kweku.
And then Mauto the second.
On which day were you born, Alex? Thursday. So we came before you. Okay. You are welcome. This is TVXYZ. A lot of people will be following our conversation on Facebook. We have a lot in the newspapers. Many of them have carried the statement by the president assuring the public that LGBTQI cannot be promoted under his regime. We have stories about COVID. this morning we are told the president will be taking his job, the vice president, their wives, clergymen, traditional leaders. I've heard Asantehene, I've heard the Gamanche, and many of them will be taking their jobs just to assure the public that, look, it's safe, go for it when it gets to your turn. We also know that the Judicial Service has issued a statement, and a lot of people are expressing misgivings. Some say it is not appropriate at this time. We also want to manage expectations ahead of the March 4 Supreme Court ruling. The National Peace Council has issued a statement begging NDC and MPP to talk to their supporters so that after March 4, they don't involve themselves in activities that can disturb the peace as far as our country is concerned. And so I will start the conversation with the two gentlemen. I just left off with Abner, and our conversation was on the Judicial Service, a letter signed by Tadio Sori, the suspicion that it's an attempt to gag the media, and the reaction so far, which has not been very palatable as far as what we have read on social media, all platforms are concerned. I want to start with Alex first because he's a lawyer, and one of your members has issued that statement. How did it come to you, Alex?
Well, good morning to our viewers. I got to know it on Saturday morning. I was on a show, and it came up in the course of the program that the Judicial Service, through their solicitors, have issued a statement to the media. And it's in regards to some kind of caution that is being thrown out to the media in regards to their reportage and things that they have reported in the past, which happens to be showing signs of hate among others. I've heard arguments as to why it was not issued by the Judicial Secretary and rather through their lawyers and so on and so forth. Well, let me first say that it isn't wrong for their lawyers to issue statement on their behalf. Likewise, it's also not wrong for the Judicial Secretary or any of the heads in the Judicial Service to also issue a statement on their behalf. So either option that they took is okay. Either option that they took is okay. But one thing that we need to understand, or the kind of understanding that I drew from that thing, is that it is not preventing criticisms. In fact, that is not even possible. It is not preventing criticisms. Because no matter what, judgments will be criticized once it comes out. Because you see, in law, justice doesn't necessarily mean you are winning your case. Justice also means losing your case. But either way, whatever the die falls, one party in one way or the other may not be pleased. So if I may quote one of my Lord Justices, Lord Hope of the Supreme Court of England, he was a former judge. He said, fairness in law is like beauty. It lies in the eyes of the beholder. So what is fair to me in the proceedings may not be fair to you, Eric, in that same proceedings. You understand? So that is why there would be criticisms, no matter what. The justices from the letter that I've read, if I understand them very well, they are not preventing criticisms. Because they know, in fact, if I may quote, I think one of the justices in this recent case, that the election petition cited or noted that justices are mostly criticized, or they will be criticized no matter what. Okay? So yes, it's allowed. You can criticize them, but all that the statement tried to portray is that the criticism should not be insightful, it should not be of hatred, it should not be of insults, and so on and so forth. Which, on that grounds, I think I agree, because if you permit insults, then people will be taking them as criticism.
So in this case, how do you define insult?
Oh.
Because it's an open-ended term, because if my criticism will go to expose and use some words, who determines whether it's an insult or otherwise?
But Eric, you and I know very well that, we being Ghanaians, there are certain things that, let me even take you to our local dialects or their Kan culture. There are certain things, certain behavior that even if you don't even use it verbally, it amounts to an insult. In our Kan settings, let me give you an instance. An elder is talking to you and then you walk off. To the elder is an insult.
Yeah.
So is that where we are getting to now?
No, that's not where we are getting to. But I'm just, you see, you are asking a question as to what will amount to an insult. What I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay, it is for the purpose of public education.
I know.
And I'm playing the devil's advocate.
I know. I understand.
If there is a certain ruling,
yeah,
and then my opinion is strong against that, and I describe it as one of the most useless rulings I've ever seen. Is that an insult or an opinion?
You are describing the ruling, not the personalities. From what you just said, this is one of the most useless ruling I've seen. It's a description to the ruling, not to the persons who did it. You have described the ruling. You understand?
I'm listening.
You have described the ruling and not the persons. What I think the statement is really in regards to the persons, the bench, or the officers of the judiciary, not necessarily their actions. If you understand them clearly. So on Saturday, I made a statement that look at the way people are trying to create different.
The reason why I asked that question brings to question commentaries that have been made in the past and suggestions that those commentaries are either attacking the institution or the persons. And so as we speak, I think there is one or two of such cases where they said that the commentary was an attack on the judiciary, not the persons. And because of that, those people have to be invited and cited for contempt. And so it is on one leg, the individuals involved, but the individuals can culminate into an institution where they will extend those commentaries or those threats towards and it is indirectly a way to gag you. I'm only using these as examples to inform how you educate us because we're lawyers.
I think that there was something that I said on Saturday, that looking at the ways different kinds of impressions are being created from that statement, I will just advise the solicitors that they should just come again clearly on what they meant.
Let me read a few paragraphs, and I'm sure my producers will help those watching us to read on the screen if they have it. It says it must, I'm making reference to chapter 10 or paragraph 10 of the letter. It says our client accordingly acknowledges the fact that in the delivery of justice, persons interested in the proceedings in one way or the other and who do not find the decisions of the court's civilized society such as ours, which is regulated by law, the expression of the satisfaction with decisions of the court must be dealt with in accordance with the same rules which accord persons the right to access the courts and no more. It must be added immediately that the right to free speech and discussion of judicial proceedings, decisions of the court, and the administration of justice is only legally permissible, provided the criticisms do not interfere with the due administration of the justice, especially where, as in this case, it is intended to strike fear in the justices whose constitutional mandate is to determine the petition and or bring the administration of justice into disrepute, which many people know already. On our client's concerns, the above stated is justified when account is taken of the fact that Ghana's history has singularly and despicably recorded the inhumane abduction and callous murder of justice of the superior courts of the judicial service, for which reason all and any acts and omissions which threaten officials of the client must be treated, and goes on and on and on. And then it concludes with those demands. So obviously, they are suggesting that, look, you can talk, but when you pass any comment and we feel it is directed at inciting people against us, we will take care of you. The question is there any reason for the judicial service to be afraid of their own proceedings, or something is working us towards that perception, and so they must cure it before it gets there?
Your question again?
My question is, as we speak, there are all kinds of school of thought, and it is premised on what people are observing. Yeah. And I'm saying, with reference to what they spoke about in paragraph 14 or so, paragraph 13, that because of what happened in the past, the abduction and killing of judges, we should not be seen to be inciting the public so that it can happen tomorrow.
I think it wasn't a good thing that we would never wish that it should repeat itself. If I'm getting a good reference, by virtue of that, they are of the view that because of what happened in the past, let us not do something that may cause that to repeat.
Repeat itself again.
You understand? Let's not say something that will create an impression that Justice ABCD has done this and that, and for that reason, let us even get him and then take him away, or by taking his life. Let us not say things that will incite persons in such a way that when you see any judge walking on any street, you see him as this person, and because of that, you can find a mob attacking him or doing all sorts.
And is it fair to ask that let us not do things that will push people to get to that limit? Because it's a fair game.
You see, that is why I stated earlier on that in trials or in legal proceedings, we seek for justice, but we don't seek to win. So it's even very wrong, ethically, for a lawyer to promise a client, I'm going to win your case for you. All right? Because when you say that, you are indirectly telling the person that whether he has a case or he doesn't have a case, you are going to win it.
Yeah.
But you go to court not to win case, but you go to court to seek justice. And justice, as I've explained, can mean you have lost your case. It can also mean you have won your case.
Let me come to you, John. It's an interesting conversation, and there's always a thin line.
Yeah.
What do you make of what we have discussed so far?
Yeah, Eric, I would like to also greet our viewers, and also my regard to the family, my wife and my pastor, especially my vice chancellor as well. Eric, you see, it's very important to acknowledge the fact that we are dealing with a very sensitive case. Okay. And in such instances, I think all these things started when the EC chair decided to opt out of being interrogated. And as usual, there will be a number of school of thoughts, and that is where the issue of the public opinion comes in. You leave some impression in the minds of people to probably start thinking in a certain manner as to whether somebody is being favored or not. In as much as we've heard a lot of submissions by the legal professionals that yes, indeed, the court has the powers to either accept a written statement or the verbal interrogations. The court was not wrong by asking that, yes, indeed, accepting whatever the EC, because they have the right, it's a risk. We're told it's a risk because she's saying that, okay, with the evidence, you can go ahead and rule. I don't want to submit myself verbally. But once again, we are here because of some of these decisions. There has been a norm that over the years, the last election petition, all stakeholders mounted the box, and we learned a lot from them. So you leave much to be desired, especially in the eyes of the court of public opinion. Once again, in as much as some of those things happen, we also need to protect the justices and then our legal system. It's very, very important. Like what we are witnessing today, there were a number of school of thought that even the vaccine it's a bad one. So we will need to once again educate people. That is the stage I think the judicial service is trying to avoid. Let's not get to the stage where the average Ghanaian would think that there will be no justice in the law court. And I'm very happy my good friend has mentioned and educated us that, look, when you go to court to seek justice, it is not a case you are going to win. It will go either way, because the justice will be delivered based on your submissions. So at the end of the day, each and every one of you, like football, at the end of the day, there will be a winner and a loser. There's nothing like a neutral position in the law court. So it's unfortunate. But you see, there's one thing, when I read the whole story, I think they want to cure that problem of the re-emergence of what happened in the past in connection with the judges. So trying as much as possible to educate Ghanaians that you have a limit to your right. In as much as you may not be happy the verdict of the court. You have to operate within the dictate of the law. Okay? And I'm very happy once again with the way and manner our colleague answered your question. When you say a judgment is useless, it's either useful to you or useless. Okay? And you sway into insults here. When a judgment is useful to me, is it an insult? It's useful to me. What about the opposite? The opposite of useful is useless.
Exactly. So
to you. You are not here referring to
any person,
but you think this has not been useful to me. Therefore, I think that I disagree. And these are natural submission, criticisms, and it's accepted. Look, in this country, in 2013, the first electoral petition, judgment, electoral contest, we all witnessed. The current president stood in front of the whole nation and said, yes, indeed, even though I disagree with the judgment, however, I accept. However, I accept. That is criticism.
Of course.
That I don't agree with you. But at the end of the day, I have to accept it.
Are you not trivializing the import of this letter? Because the judicial service, in this case, has been supervising a lot of things happening in this country. Public confidence in the judicial system will be based on their own activities.
Thank you.
So where people believe that there's choose and pick and deal with the issues as it pleases you, if the public confidence in the judicial service wins, it cannot be threats that will whip people to line. Look, one of the references said a bailiff was going to serve a candidate. And I'm making reference to Hohoi seat.
Okay.
And he was beaten mercilessly. Okay. There's no statement that has come out.
Okay.
Some have said that there are related cases that are either hanging or there is a perception that there's no interest. All these go to build public confidence. And so they cannot limit this concern to an election petition, if that is what people are perceiving, is the reason why they are issuing that statement.
That's true.
It only suggests that they are anticipating a certain reaction from the public because of things that have been happening. And so many people are anticipating that this statement is a reason for the issuance to cure the reaction when it comes.
Eric, you know, in every environment, you have the bad nuts in there. Yes, it's incumbent on the leaders of such institutions to ensure that the bad nuts are addressed very well. I mean, those things happen. Yes, indeed. There are several times we've heard that, look, people seek justice and then they are denied.
Of course.
I mean, there's so much evidence in there, which gave rise to the analysis video and all that. A lot of bad nuts were exposed in every system. There are bad nuts in there, okay. But we have a legal system to protect. Come on, in the absence of a legal system, then we are going to have a banana state.
How? Let me put land and then let me send the question to him.
Yeah.
The question would have been, how do you protect a legal system? Is it a two-way affair or it's a one-way affair where, whether you like it or not, don't go far with your commentary and live with it? Is that how to guide the legal system?
No. All and sundry are involved in protecting legal systems. I think you mentioned it in your preamble. Now, the media is also responsible to protect our legal system. The average Ghanaian like me, the barrister in question, everyone is part and parcel of the system and ensure that we must protect our legal system. How do we protect is the next question. We don't sit down when you know that justice has been denied someone. And there are a number of times that the media will pick cases that they believe that, yes, indeed, for this case, justice was denied. You help people go for review and they win cases. I remember very well, I mean, the issue of this human rights lawyer, what's the name? the current MP of Sosu, on a number of occasions, as an individual lawyer, he partnered the media. I remember very well, Joy FM, TV3, I mean, some of your sister stations, to help him get people seek justice after they were denied. So you see, it is not a one-way affair. What we need to do is to always protect our system with the little resource that we have. Else, everyone, in fact, I mean, it's intrinsic, it's personal. In the absence of systems and controls, I think I will always want to benefit from the system. So these systems and controls are those that will regulate my actions. Are you okay? But if we sit without playing any role, then it will be a one-way affair. That is why I'm very, very particular with this particular issue of protecting our legal system. We shouldn't give room to some disgruntled people to also take advantage of the situation and make it look like it was so bad, when in actual fact, maybe the system was using its own practices, okay, to deliver justice on what others believe that, look, let's look at it from another alternative. Very, very important. Now, it's incumbent on us once again to ensure that we subject the justices to their own practices. So I don't think it is wrong when a justice delivered, are you okay? Justice delivered goes contrary to the Constitution. I have every right to review, to appeal. So you see, yes, indeed, there will be some manipulation in the system, but it's incumbent on us to continue fighting until we have a perfect system. Yeah.
Lawyer, just to conclude, let me paraphrase this long question this way. Lots of things are on the minds of the public. Professor Raymond Atuguba has made some statement recently with regards to handling of politically motivated cases. Anas has done some homework and has created a certain impression in the minds of the public.
Yeah.
Our courts are supposed to be operating and leave us space to understand what they are doing and whether they are fairly handling issues or otherwise. There's another school of thought about perceived parking of courts, and so there's now a syndrome, go to court, go to court, go to court. How do all these feed into what is happening now and the statement that many or some see as threats just intended to gag people from exposing an agenda?
All right, let me start from the alleged packing of court. You know, Ghana follows the little bit of American system as compared to the United Kingdom. The American system is where, I mean, the president nominates or appoints justice to the appellate courts or the higher courts. In the United Kingdom, the government of the day has no hand in there. There's an independent commission that appoints when there's a vacancy. So it doesn't matter which party is in power. They will still independent and they continue to do their work. But now look at comparatively with America. When Trump was trying to bulldoze his way through, even though there were justices that he has appointed to the court, but none of them was, I mean, giving up something for you to see that, oh, they are supporting the agendas of Trump. They were doing what is mandated of them by their constitution.
Yeah.
In the likewise manner, irrespective of which government appointed you to the Supreme Court or to the Court of Appeal, your work there is not to serve that party or that person, but rather to serve Ghana and to also uphold our constitution. So I wouldn't want to sway into that argument that, oh, because party A appointed you there, you are supposed to do or sink or ship into their line. Rather, your being there is to enforce the provisions of our constitution and ensure that there is, we uphold the rule of law. In summary, your duty is to uphold the rule of law and ensure that people who assess the judiciary in terms of their issues get justice by applying the rules, applying the evidence, and ensuring that what needs to be done is done. If I don't deserve it, don't give it to me. And let your judgment point to the facts that why you think I don't deserve it. Let it be clear. We need not to speak in ambiguity. You understand me? So justices in this country or all over the world, I've been subject to several kinds of criticisms. In fact, I can cite former President Bush criticizing a judgment that was made by the Supreme Court then under his era, which he disagreed. My brother have started that of Nana Akufo-Addo in 2013, among others. We can cite and cite and cite. Sure. In all these things, they are welcome. They are all welcome. Because there is no way an institution of this country can say that, oh, you can't criticize me. No. That is not even possible. As you rightly stated in your preamble, the president has been on countless occasions been criticized for his actions and inactions. Take the issue of gayism. The statement that he made in abroad and the statement that he has been making here. People have been finding several issues with them. President Muhammad during his era was criticized severally. President Mills was criticized. President Kufuor was criticized. President Rawlings was criticized. Even to today, even in his grave, you still have issues from people criticizing him on certain things that he did in the past. So criticisms are part of the game. And if I understand the letter that came out clearly, it's not pushing out criticisms, but it should be in the right context.
Yeah. So is it right for those like me who are saying that it's an attempt to gag the media? I've listened to Cabral Blay Ami here, who has spoken strongly against this act, and is calling on GJ, Prempag, Media Foundation for West Africa, and GIBA, for example, to speak out now before it is too late. Okay. I've listened to Professor Kwesi Prempeh, CDD boss. Yeah. I've listened to, he calls himself Kweku Azar on Facebook, Professor, I think,
he's a lawyer as well.
Professor Asari, Kweku Asari, has also spoken. These are legal brains who understand the import of the letter like you do. And they believe that it is a subtle attempt because of events that have happened just recently to muzzle out the media. Okay. And it's an issue of concern. And so they are not looking at the legalities or the terms or paragraphs carefully packaged to make you and I feel that there's no intent in there.
No, I agree with them. You see, there's no way we can get all of us to one line in terms of this kind of arguments. But one thing that I suggest or I recommend to persons who have issues with this thing is that the judicial service is an institution of the state. They should go to them, they should call them, sit together. What did you mean by this letter? Is it because you are gagging the media? Is it because you are doing the seek clarity on the content? The solicitors among them should come together, because even if you look at the Ghana Media Commission or something, there's a rep from the
National Media Commission.
National Media Commission, rather. There's a rep from Ghana Bar Association who's supposed to be on board. So it means that you cannot do away with the legal system, unquote. We are one of you. You are also one of us. But in the same way, if a statement has been issued by an institution of the state, the judicial service, more or less the third arm of government, and it doesn't sound clear to the minds of the ordinary Ghanaian, to the minds of the media and the people who are looking at it, I think the best way forward is that, and I've said it and I'm repeating it here again, is that they should seek clarity. They should seek clarity in that it's either they are going to reissue a letter clarifying certain things that they have said, which some people are portraying it to be a gagging of the media, or they will sit down, as all these top persons have spoken, sit down and get proper explanation to whatever they meant. Is it because they are asking nobody to criticize them? Or they want people to criticize, but like I said, in a certain manner, but not in a manner that will incite or bring chaos into the country.
Now, John, maybe your last comment, and we'll move on to a related topic, but outside this main domain, is what people have asked, as Cabral put it. Are they going to stop people on social media from commenting? How are they going to do it? Maybe national security may help them. The other one had to do with, so going forward, does it mean that the instruction that delete all those things with immediate effect would mean that if those media houses involved do not delete, the court can ask them to come back because they have flouted a directive?
Okay, Eric, let's face the fact. We have a country with a constitution that gives me the freedom of speech and then freedom of association. Nobody can gag anyone in this country. And it's also imperative to note that, you see, in as much as we have the right of speech, I mean, to speech, and then you have the right to speak whatever you want, to speak your mind, you need not infringe on my rights. Tomorrow, if a XYZ TV happens to have read something that is injurious to this station, I think it's incumbent on you to seek justice from the law court. So I don't have any problem with the Judicial Service asking the media to even delete any statement that is injurious to them on their website. It is a human rights issue. Where we have gotten to in our democracy, you cannot gag anyone in this country. Look, we have developed our system such that it doesn't mean we have a very perfect system, but the issue of gagging is not a matter that you're talking about here. They have the right to also tell people to be circumspect in the way they describe the Judicial Service in this country. Don't insult us. Don't instigate our rulings. You see, you have the right of appeal if you disagree with any judgment. So, to a large extent, even though I have my own reservations, in some of the issues in there, that's my personal reservation. But I seem to resonate with some of their submissions. It's another means of protecting our judicial system. It's a system that myself and you at any point in time will have to work to seek justice. Without it, there'll be chaos in this country. Without it, we'll have our state to be a banana state, where there'll be no respect for rule of law. And can you imagine if we don't have them in the system, where will you seek justice? So you see, Eric, it's imperative to know that in as much as you may disagree with some of the judgment or even the justices, you have the right to submit your case to the same institution or other institutions to speak on your behalf. Do not instigate them against the public. Do not subject them to public ridicule. If your statement, your submissions are injurious to them, they'll take you on. And it's right.
Yes, so whether it's a threat or it's an advice, I believe that at this stage, all of us know that institutions must survive, and our collective effort is to make sure those institutions are protected. And it's a two-way affair, as Alex put it. Those in those institutions must be seen to be acting right, and those outside the institution must respect them and say their opinion, but not inside people. Let's also acknowledge that some of the media houses obviously will be found guilty because the hosts or the platforms may have been used beyond what the profession would say, the ethics that we all subscribe to. And so at this stage, we can only advise that just respect the ethics of your profession, know how far you can go, and let us not create unnecessary confusion in this country. The other topic I want us to discuss is related. The National Peace Council has issued a statement. It's telling the two major political parties and their leaders, Nana Akufo-Addo and John Dramani Mahama, that after March 4, when the Supreme Court has ruled, they must bring their people to order. They must make sure they don't incite them to create unnecessary panic or confusion in this country. We'll be brief on this. I want to start with Alex, because John just stopped. Yeah. Alex, National Peace Council is back, and peace is their game.
I like the word that you used. They are back. Indeed, they are back. Because they have gone into exile for long. So we thank God that for whatever miracle that he did, he has brought them back to Ghana now. And now they are in Ghana. I'm sure maybe they might have been locked outside because of the COVID. But now they are in the country. Peace Council. It's one institution that I wish one day we will revive them properly, because of the way and manner they have been conducting themselves in this country. I have had issues with them, honestly speaking. I have had issues with them because of late, their style of operations has been one-sided. If I'm not mistaken, when after the declaration, or was it before the declaration, one of them, we heard that they were going to the NDC headquarters to go and talk to each other, or they were going to the House of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to go and speak to him on that he should, I think he should concede defeat or something. I heard something about that. The question I first asked myself is that this election was mainly on two main people. Have we gone to the other party before coming to the election? Why did you choose this one first?
Because one is complaining.
Was his complaints legitimate? Did they see it as legitimate? Were they okay with his complaints? Did they see some iota of truth in his complaints? If the answer is yes, what did they do about it?
So the advice was go to court.
Oh, really? Just that?
Yeah, and that's where we are now. We are in court.
But you know that
we want to see how things will
very
unfold.
good. I'm not against.
Every Ghanaian will say, yes, we have to go to court.
I'm not against going to court. But there are certain things that can be done out of court. There are certain things that you don't need the court to direct you. Parties can themselves resolve it before leaving the court. It is where all other means have been used and proven futile. Then you go to the final arbiter, whereby he will, by his orders or the rules, order you do A, B, C, D, which you can't violate, because when you fail, it's contempt. But proud to that, certain things could have been set right. Certain things could have been made right or would have been made known properly.
Like what?
Take for instance, we had issues with Tajima South. Look at what happened there. Did the Peace Council make any statement about it? If the answer is yes, please let me know when they said it and what they said. Were they in this country? Did they see soldiers, policemen pointing rifles onto people, which is absolutely unprofessional? No soldier, no policeman is trained to point rifle onto somebody and fire. It's not done.
What I know they have done is to issue a general statement asking those who are aggrieved to use due process rather than violence.
Eric, it's not a matter of using due process. You are asking someone, a political party, to put their supporters to order when a judgment is given. And I'm asking that they were in this country when innocent people were killed out of the negligence of the security officers. There are 1,001 ways to control a crowd and not necessarily firing live ammunition on them. When they heard the deaths of those people, did they make any statement? I stand for correction. If they did, correct me. If they didn't, then this statement is useless.
What I know is they suggested to all those aggrieved to use the right processes rather than the violence.
That is an afterthought. What I'm saying is that something happened. Some individuals were killed as a result of whatever. I mean, I don't want to say that people were being violent. They were rather trying to enforce the right thing to be done because they had issues with the electoral systems and or the electoral processes which were being done in that constituency. They had issues with it. Up to today, you know that issue is in court. And as a result of that, inappropriate actions are led by them, some people were killed. Because we will not allow you to do what is wrong. It turned into a different thing. Soldiers and police started pouncing on them. And some people died as a result. Have they been able to condemn that actions? Were they here in this country when the minister was firing guns at the police station? Were they here? Did they issue any statement about it?
They have always been here.
Did they issue any statement about it? You don't need them at this time. If our members or political party members need to be controlled, they know. They don't need Peace Council to come and tell them that
they will
control
cite
them.
you for contempt for attacking the institution.
No. Which institution? Peace Council?
Yes.
No. They can't cite you for contempt.
And you know, the way you spoke, I am only looking at how another Ghanaian will speak. I don't know how to put it. Let me just leave it. The way you spoke, I want to liken it to the other way around. But
just let me land. You see, so the point I'm making here is that I'm just landing. The point I'm making here is that we have had serious issues in this country, which that institution should have spoken to it and condemn it. Yeah. Because it is absolutely not right. You had a minister sitting before Parliament, telling Parliament that what I did was wrong, and was apologizing. At some point, you were saying that, oh, the issue is with the police, I will not comment. There has never been an instance where police are investigating a matter, and you cannot speak to it. A matter that you have not even been charged.
And
she was never charged, she was never questioned, according to her own words before Parliament Vetting Committee.
Now, what could have the Peace Council done?
Okay, then if they cannot do anything in such regard, then they can also not do anything in this regard.
I think Alex raises an interesting point. If the Peace Council want to assert some level of authority or respect, it must be dependent on its own actions. We witnessed Ayawaso West Wuogon.
Good.
And the Peace Council played a critical role to the extent that there was the need for a law that will be called Vigilantism Act or whatever they put it. And that was supposed to influence our actions or inactions during the 2020 elections.
Yeah.
We've all seen it, and we know what the Peace Council has been doing. And now we have this statement in anticipation of what we don't know after March 4. John.
Eric, I'm very happy, even though I disagree with some of the few issues you raised, my very good friend raised. I resonate with some of the issues. And also happy that, yes, indeed, your words are confirmatory of the fact that the Peace Council has come out before time. And you were a bit disappointed because in the past they were not coming out.
They were not.
So it means that they are listening to us. You can never gag the Ghanaian. You see, Eric, I am a student of peace. We've been learning a lot about peace. When you look at the powers of the Peace Councils, it's basically a reconciliatory powers they have. They cannot compel you to do something, but that culture of ours that, look, there are elderlies in our society. When there's a disagreement in any household, some people must come and sit the 2 or 3 parties together and then see how best we can resolve issues amicably. I have been following the Peace Council for some time now, and they will always tell you that the issues we solve in camera may not be privy to a lot of people. Okay? Yes, indeed, you cannot fault them so much that some of the issues are personal when you're resolving, conflicts. And some, even the parties may not even want you to come out. So at any given point in time, you may hear the thing and you may think that, yes, indeed, they're not doing nothing. They're not doing anything. But I can tell you that they work behind the scene. Sometimes they are also very circumspect with statements that they make. And as a peacemaker, you need to understand the issues before you even open your mouth. Else, it will render you useless when you now set in. You don't just make statements. It's very, very important to know. You always play the neutral role coming in to resolve issues. I'm very happy they've come out before time. That, look, this is a matter of national interest. We are appealing to each and every party involved. The judgment could go either way. Parties, manage your expectations. Anything can happen. It's good. However, the disappointment here is the fact that in the past, is that how we saw Peace Council working?
That's my point.
That is the disappointment. And that's why I agree with you.
That is my point.
That Peace Council should be seen to be more proactive. And you see, there's this issue of transparency. Chama, you be in your house doing the right thing. If I do not know, how do I know that you are doing the right thing in your house? By now, statement. Do they have a website I can even go to check what they are doing?
Maybe.
No, these are questions you have to ask. And even if they do, is there any educational look? Whatever you want, this is our website. Let's just go and read about us, what we've done in the past. These are things that you need to inform the public. It's very, very important. If they're listening to us, and if people are criticizing them, it is because of that issue of transparency. We're not getting much information on what they are doing. Very, very crucial to their work. So for me, I'm very happy that today they've come out openly to, even before a judgment is given, that, look, parties, please manage yourself. For all you know, in the past, they would have done it in secrecy.
But even Jasatugba somewhere last week, Jasatugba said a similar thing.
Yeah.
Telling the parties that they should accept. I agree.
Yeah.
I've told you here that justice doesn't mean you win.
No.
But you see,
you understand? So
what is happening now in this country is what I see as the acceptance of the general public, whether good or bad, whether there is some respect or the other, because credibility comes into play.
Yeah.
And credibility is earned. Apart from that, there are incidents that you have both referred to. You can recall that many of those who sit as members of the Christian Council or are associated with the Christian Council,
Peace Council, right?
where the Peace Council were co-opted as members of the Committee of Eminent Persons,
for the EC,
which had a role to play as far as the EC is concerned. And a lot of things have happened between December and now. Soil issues are there, and many other infractions, i.e., tape recordings exposing people for either reading their own results or otherwise. All these things are allegations anyway. But if these institutions have been quiet over the period, pretending that they are not part of what is happening, and then they surface when you don't know how it will end, and you issue a statement, do you think people will take them serious? Because you are looking at people behavior. I'll be taking a break. I just want you to think through this. When we come back after the break, we will respond to this and move on to another topic.
Okay.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yeah.
It be old cargo. Can I join you guys?
Yeah.
Always drink fresh, natural, mix, mineral, water.
Still got it.
Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back. This is TVXYZ and Wezo TV. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Apart from your TV sets, just call friends. Let them send their text messages. The question was, how do we ensure that the people buy into our messages? I have a lot of them to read with you. And my guest, John Kweku Mensah Mauto, is Dean of Students at the School of Graduate Studies at the University of Professional Studies, Accra. And then Alexander Chum Berima is a legal practitioner. Let me just do a few messages, then we'll come to you. This one says, this one is from Mustafa Lower Manya Krobo. COVID-19 has exposed African leaders big time. Africa has all the herbs, and let's go and use them. I will paraphrase some of the messages because I have a lot of them here. From Abedi, Kwadaso Aka Pilisini Nedrono. Okay, thank God President Akufo-Addo has assured Ghanaians that he won't legalize same-sex marriage. Sorry. This one says, good morning, Eric. I think your two guests are just making my day. But the question is, how can we trust the judicial service? It goes on. This one says, good morning, Eric. I think that the statement from the judicial service is in bad taste and exposes our legal system further. We do not infringe upon the right of others to further the right of others. The court has a right to cite people for contempt, isn't it? With that discretion given to court, why does it still think it is necessary to threaten the populace from criticizing the court? This one is from Dennis Andaban, the village boy from Dafiama Busie Isa. This one says, good morning, TVXYZ. The judicial threat against the media is just below the belt. Kofi Francis from Lower Manya sent this. Another message from Professor Emeritus from Kintampo. Please, why is your transmission cutting off TV XYZ, my favorite. Okay, I'm sure you may have to check your antenna and then readjust it. Otherwise, you follow us on Facebook or YouTube and later find time to adjust it because of the conversation today. Hi, Eric. The murder of the judges has been overused by our judges to gag citizens. Many martyrs have died in the line of their profession or beliefs, yet it is not used to absolve those institutions from criticism. It is just unacceptable where we want our judges now to do everything to insulate themselves from being accountable. Their conduct is what matters, especially when they are appointees of government. Those defending must note that they shall fall victims. I believe that even the contempt should be deleted from the status books and Parliament, and should work at that and not judiciary. This flies in the face of freedom of speech and accountability. It's long message. So people are calling, so let me just revert to another phone to do the messages. Please don't call because when you do, it will affect how we continue our conversations, especially when we read your messages. This one says, Eric, good morning, Eric. Please tell JDM that some of us are not happy about what is going on in the country. Should come out and speak, or else is going to be described as a coward. This one didn't come with a name. This one is from OPK Goso. Mahama and NDC legal team are still super incompetent, and the message is obviously clear. I will continue our conversation, and there are lots of messages, so I'll leave more space to do as many as possible. Otherwise, I'll keep you sitting. Now, just in summary, I raised the question before we went for the break. A brief comment so that we can move on to another topic, sir.
It's very important to know that, you see, yes, indeed, the Peace Council, it's not about the Peace Council issue, related issues.
Yes.
Which I think that they should be listening to us. As Ghanaians, we've observed how active they were some time back. So when suddenly we now observe that there is some sort of laxity in the way and manner they do things, we should talk about it. So they should be more proactive and then also speak to the issues. Let Ghanaians know what they are doing, and that will go a long way to, in fact, give back that confidence in us. If there's a problem, you know, there are a number of countries without peace councils, and some countries are learning from us. I can't remember Ivory Coast. I mean, when they were now appraising and then trying to find reasons why their violence, I mean, some few issues escalated. They realized that there were some institutions they didn't have. So they came back to Ghana and learned from us. It tells you that the relevance of Peace Council in building a democracy is also very, very important. I mean, you cannot underwrite it. It's very, very important. So what I want to put across here is that, look, yes, indeed, Peace Council, you have the mandate to ensure that there's always this reconciliation whenever there are issues. But please be more transparent. Come out and let the public know what you are doing. And that will give so much confidence to the work that you do.
Now, Alex, briefly, Peace Council makes a reference to the Peace Accord. The Peace Accord may have been signed by the leaders of the political parties. But how this influences the average Ghanaian on the street who may be provoked or otherwise to respond positively or negatively to statements like these also plays a key role.
Eric, you see, I know and I understand that clearly. But one thing that you also need to understand is that, if I'm right, none of these two top political parties, I always use the two because the other ones, they are not that strong. But these two main political parties, hardly will you see His Excellency John Dramani Mahama asking or directing any supporter or sympathizer that get into the street and go and cause mayhem. Likewise, I'm not sure nobody will do the same, so far as this country is concerned. So, to the best of my knowledge, these two main political parties who are now in court, or their leaders are in court, has a way of advising their supporters. And since they want to today, yes, at the beginning we saw one or two demonstrations, which is right. It's lawful. It's not against the law. We saw the same in 2013 after the declaration. Yeah. We saw the MPP also rampaging the streets and doing all sorts of things. We saw it. That is, you see, it's an initial reaction to the kind of shock that you get from this kind of elections that you go. But afterwards, after going to court and coming out of court with ruling or judgments, definitely nobody will go onto the streets to go and cause any mayhem. But one thing that I know for sure is that they seek or they get their own advices on what as to what they will do next from the court. And I've said it, that there are two sets of judges, sorry. Those who are judging from their homes and those who are judging from the court. I mean, the bench is going to give us their judgment. That is the first judgment that we are all going to get. But there's also going to be another judgment from Ghanaians in 2024. And yes, it's going to be whether EC was competent or it was the NDC and the alleged team who were incompetent. That's what will come in 2024 during the elections.
Okay, so
but to the Peace Council one, I think what I will say is that it's good that they have come out anyway because they have been in exile for long. But now that they are in, we welcome them. But I want to urge them that they should avoid being selective on issues. But where necessary, issues that are of national concern, you should speak about it. Because you cannot say that you are seeking peace when people are dying innocently. And yet you say you are seeking peace. The police administration told us that they are doing investigations about that matter. How far have they gone? Is it true that they are really investigating the matter? Have they cautioned, have they reprimanded any officer or those officers who were involved? What actions have been taken? Have they taken up that issue to even follow up from the police administration to tell us that this is what they are doing about this issue? Because no matter what, we cannot confirm or we cannot approve the actions that took place in 30 months.
Now, there is this saying that there's no peace without justice.
Yeah. That is it.
And the National Peace Council has a mandate because the taxpayers' money is used to fund their activities.
Yeah.
Now, if in Techiman South or other related incidents of violence related to the elections are not being investigated or justice is being delayed, can the Peace Council be seen to be speaking to those issues as well, or they should just be the
that is exactly what I'm saying,
official?
No, that is exactly what I'm saying.
And move on.
That is exactly what I'm saying, or that I'm saying here. They should not be selective.
No, you see, when we started the conversation, there was an issue about institutions of state and how people respect them and their commentary, which will go to undermine those institutions or otherwise.
Yes.
And this is a perfect example of incidents that are likely to influence public opinion in a certain way.
Yes, because the Peace Council that we knew, they were talking about everything in this country. Even government laws, you see them talking about it. Peace Council was criticizing everything in the past. Why are they not doing the same now?
John, do you know what has gone wrong?
Why are they not doing the same now? That's my question. Why would some people die and you said you are for peace? And people have been killed out of violence. I don't care which side erupted the violence, but they were doing that for a legitimate cause. A declaration was going to be done when they thought it was not right. So they were agitated to stop that wrongful declaration. That was their reason. As a result, some people died innocently. Let me tell you something about the assault rifles that they use. You can be targeting Eric before you realize you've killed your cameraman. That's what they describe as stray bullets.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's not every. I mean, I'm told there was even an 18-year-old girl and some other people. That is why it is wrong to fire or discharge firearms in public.
Yeah. Well, that's how we end the conversation now. We'll be looking at LGBTQI. It's an issue we cannot end this conversation without touching on. But this is what I want to also tell the Peace Council. You remember Banda, somebody was killed during the voter registration exercise. We have seen different incidents of assault either coming from the side of the NDC against MPP or MPP against NDC, or sometimes by uniformed officers who are not trained police or military officers. These are facts that are verifiable. And as a Peace Council which wants to earn credibility, you must show equal interest in these and demand from either the institutions or government that the right things are done. Else, it will be, and I want to use this word, a useless entity that will not be respected whenever they speak again.
Yeah.
At this stage, I want to acknowledge our sponsors, Health Alert Clinic. I'm sure as we speak, you'll see their numbers on the screen. Go there for ailments. They have herbal treatment to many of the ailments that are common to us in this part of Africa. And of course, X Natural Mineral Water. Your body needs about 60% of water. It keeps you healthy. Early morning, just grab your bottle and then just gulp it and stay healthy. Now, LGBTQI. long name.
Yes.
And some say Ghanaians are joking. Others say, look, we are trying our best, and society is perhaps helping government to say no to the sponsors.
Yeah.
President Akufo-Addo has spoken.
Yeah.
And he has reiterated his position.
Yeah.
It will not happen under my government.
Thank you.
What does it mean to you?
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. It was long overdue. I think last week we sat here and discussed this whole issue and even emphasized we were of the view that it wasn't lawful. It was alien to our laws. Yes, indeed. Let's admit that we have some of these people in our midst, but legally, I don't think they can have the right to establish offices. And I knew. I mean, naturally, they were trying to test our law and then test the patience of Ghanaians. I'm happy that the president has come out at this time, but it was long overdue. So I was just conjecturing whether the president was also trying to wait and then listen to or observe what Ghanaians, whether we have changed or not.
Our thoughts.
Oh yes, whether we have changed our thought about, because you see, it is our practice, it's our cultural beliefs, it's our dignity that is left. This is the beliefs of most Ghanaians. It's enshrined in our culture. Now, I'm very happy once again and want to commend the president for what he's done yesterday, I think over the weekend. However, there's something that happened which I think the president must solve and bring finality to it. The diplomatic corps in this country. You know, we called on them last week to back off our beliefs. The president should once again take the next step, inviting them and warning them against involvement in some practices which are alien to our culture. Eric, you bear with me that no Ghanaian ambassador can go to the US, UK, or whichever Western country or
Germany,
East,
Australia,
and promote polygamy. They have no right. In fact, they may be sanctioned, or in the next day, they'll be sent back to Ghana. But we have some of these, not all of them, because some of them will not joke with our laws. But some thought, they thought they have the right to penetrate our laws and they infringe on the very things that we said we don't like in our country. Mr. President, I think you are the head of this country. We expect that you invite this diplomatic corps in this country who even granted interviews, who were special guests in that fundraising program they organized. Invite them to come and answer questions as to why they will entertain this. And you see, we've gotten to the stage where Ghana should not entertain some of this indiscipline on the part of the diplomatic corps. So, my brother, what we've gotten to, I think the issue will be brought to some finality. The last time, I think last week, our barrister really educated us on the law. When you also listen to some submissions of other barristers, they will tell you that our law doesn't state it clearly because we are conjecturing, we are making meaning into some of the words. But the law must come out clearly to say that, look, we abhor, we will not allow. I mean, there should be some level of stance. Because the law is a little bit vague with respect to sodomization and all that. The unnatural, carnal knowledge and all that. But we have to come out and make it clear. And that is a step that the president must probably
take what he said yesterday.
That, look, just as the president sat and told us, promised us that, look, we will come out with this this political activism. What's the name? You just mentioned Vigilantism. Quickly, there was a law promulgated, passed We want the same law.
Speed.
The speed. That look, this is our culture. This is our beliefs. So kindly pass a law so that to address all the issues, the integrities that will one day bring up this thing. It's our beliefs that if we are to allow it, it will go against our country.
All right, Alex. Some critics say the president was playing to the gallery because before he had the opportunity to speak, there was the impression that was created that he had ordered security operatives to go and close the facility. It was widely publicized. It came out that it was not true.
Was he the one who ordered them? Or the chiefs went to the police station to report?
That was the Monday before the closure on the Thursday. So last weekend, that was the impression that was created. It was published, and there was silence till the chiefs, the Kwabenya chiefs, threatened to close down the facility, and we saw it happen.
And they went to the police to get the police.
Before the president spoke, many people were arguing that it's about time we serve a strong statement to the EU and the diplomatic community. And if it becomes necessary, as Kojo Oponkroma put it, let's look at a better law that will address it once and for all. And so for the president to go and repeat what he said, that it's bound to happen, it will not happen under my time, the critics again say it has the element of bound to happen. And so the issue has not been addressed the way it should be.
Okay, I think, you see, the issue whereby the president is reiterating his statements has come because of him. He has caused his own trouble. He had the opportunity to have said this thing that he said yesterday or last weekend, somewhere, and decided not to use it. Rather, he made them understand that the pressure has not been given yet. It's something that some time ago it was not so in the United Kingdom. And now it is. So who knows? Once that pressure comes up, maybe Ghana too may consider. That is why we are here today. So today they are giving you that pressure that you called for.
Yeah.
You invited that pressure. You said you have not gotten it.
Yeah.
And they are giving it to you.
Yeah.
By opening offices, renting apartments, you getting foreign mission ambassadors, declaring their stand, giving you that pressure. That's you call for pressure, so we are giving it to you now. Open. That is why we are here today. If not, look at the stand of President Rawlings. Look at the stand of President Mills. Then, to David Cameron. He was
the speaker.
I mean, the past speaker.
Yeah.
President Mahama, look at his stand. He said, I mean, all those people made their stand clear. And their stands never, brought in any of these things that we are seeing today.
Is it not an issue of time that is evolving, and therefore
it's not time.
Gradually they are creeping into our society?
See, when you went, listen, I think he went to one community. I think it was in the Ashanti or something that he went to made that statement. Mampong. News captured by Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, transcends very fast than the news that will be captured by
local media houses.
Any of the local media houses in Ghana or in the Ashanti region that you went. So to the Western media, who was meeting or capturing an event of most presidents, that same platform, you had Museveni, we had Uhuru Kenyatta, and they all made their stands clear, loud and clear to the Western world. Museveni said, it is disgusting. Kenyatta made it known to Obama and also to the Western world. He said, you have your own thing, that is your belief, but here we will not do it. So they will not be getting that pressure that we are getting here. But unfortunately, our father said, oh, it is something that is possible, it can come up.
But I've seen clergymen clap for him for making that statement, and the encouragement is that he has set the tone, and it is the next step will see better things.
That is the only thing they can do. I mean, why wouldn't they clap? They have to clap now. Yeah. They have to clap. But you see, their clapping doesn't, erase the fact that something was said earlier. If he had made the stand clear, he wouldn't have been somewhere repeating himself or now trying to restate his stance on it or not. But in any case, Eric, let me conclude on this.
Yeah.
It is good that he has made...
We have 4 minutes more.
It's good that he has concluded...
messages to read, so wrap up.
It's good that he has made his stance clear, that he's not going to tolerate it. But so, you reckon that he said, not under my government that same-sex marriage will be happening. Don't forget something. It's not just about the same-sex marriage, but the act itself is also not allowed. So, Mr. President, it's not about 2 men going to marry, But even after they do behind the curtain, that is not, whereby they have not even brought it to the law, to come and officially get married, it's also wrong.
So it should come clear.
And for that reason,
okay,
you should as you listen, cause your attorney general, the incoming, once he's giving the nod, cause him to give us a good law. If the law on section 104(b)(1)(b) of the Criminal Offences Act is not clear enough, because they are saying you have used the word unnatural criminality, to me it is clear. I mean, anything that is not done in the normal way is unnatural. We
don't have much time. Just leave it there. Let me put full stop there. Consider my age. And then do some 20 seconds. I need messages to read.
Okay, Erica, I think I want to commend the president for the vaccine. I mean, the COVID-19 vaccine. We all know that the development of economy now is incumbent on the vaccine. I mean, people will have to come out to work. And I'm very happy that being one of the first African country to have received it. And then subsequently, there are some numbers that will be coming.
Yes.
I want to use your platform to commend the president, his people, and then the management of COVID-19 for the wonderful work they've done, to give Ghanaians the hope that, yes, indeed, today we have received, and then subsequently, some will come, and then we all get vaccinated. But most importantly, Eric, I also want to urge Ghanaians who have read all those theories that they should be very circumspect. It's another ploy by the enemy to prevent you from being vaccinated. So be very mindful of the statements you make. Just change your mind and then get vaccinated.
I think that they should. I mean, the GHS should do a very good job. Okay. Yeah, Ghana Service, they should do a very good job by educating the masses. I mean, the Ghanaians a lot. Don't forget, Eric, we have about 60% of our population being illiterate. So.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's a very big problem.
Yeah.
NCC and so on.
I want to do some messages now.
Yeah, so they should educate the people very well.
Understand is starting.
Yeah, they should educate them very well to understand it. Yeah. Yeah. If not, no matter what you do, some Ghanaians, they will not take it up.
I talk about illiterate. They are illiterate.
Consider this one says, good morning again. We don't need anything like peace council in this country to survive. We don't know them. They should take the peace to their homes. This one says, it's from Ato. Ato says, good morning, Mr. Host. NDC will never, I repeat, have anything to do with peace council. JDM is a northerner. Let sleeping dogs lie peacefully. This text message says, Mr. Host, your guests are doing very well, I must say, but to judiciary cautioning the media is in bad taste for we Ghanaians. The judiciary cannot gag us, and it's from Isaac Akanaba from Pualugu in Upper East. I'll try to summarize your messages so that I can read as many as possible. Good morning, Chief. Please kindly inform your viewers and panelists that the LGBTQ aren't asking for same-sex marriage, but rather fundamental human rights. The president should rather state or make it clear to them that they have no right on our land. Adewale Jiwa from Nima sent this message. This one says, Eric, the least said about Reverend Asante and his NPP cabal called Peace Council, the better. It's useless for them to come out now when they know the upcoming election petition, what it will look like. They should give us a break. From Yusuf in Tamale. I'm just about wrapping up. I have a few other messages which also came via the 020-866-7000 line. This one says, your budget for a vaccine, and you budgeted for a vaccine and decided to chop the money with family and friends and go for samples. Even Nebuchadnezzar will not behave like this. This one is from Dr. Nana Ama Brown Kluche sent this message. This one, I'm just running through the message. This one says, Nana Akufo-Addo has shown good leadership and is the first person to go for the vaccine. This one is from Omanle Wayosi. And one more before we go. This one is from Musa. It says, homosexuality is a crime in Ghana. LGBTQI has no place in our law books. Trumu is not allowed, and it goes on and on. And this one came from Musa Abatwa in Kumasi. Lots of messages came in. Many agree with my panelists on the issue or the discussion on the judiciary. They are saying that let's be cautious, let's run our commentary, let's criticize, but don't incite the public against them. They say the president must come out strongly and be bold in a statement to caution the EU and the diplomatic community, and of course, demonstrate its commitment towards stopping this, I will use it in quotes, this nonsense by passing a better law if this law, as we have it now, is still ambiguous. But Alex disagrees. We also talked about peace, and what we understand is that the National Peace Council has come out appropriately, but it must demonstrate that it is ready to speak to all subjects. My name is Eric Ahianyo. I did this with Alex Chum Berema, who is a legal practitioner, and then John Kweku Mensah Mauto, Dean of Students at the School of Graduate Studies at the University of Professional Studies. Gentlemen, I enjoy my Mondays with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You also do say.
Abena cannot be with us because of time. She's around. And on her behalf, I want to say thank you for joining us on TVXYZ and Wiswa TV.